We're here with HylianRogue Game Talk today. We have our guest, Lone Alpha there, otherwise known as Alex McCall. You're seeing his Facebook profile picture because the dork does not have a webcam.
Hey, y'all doing?
Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Pokken and all things Pokken. After the release that came out Friday, I've played for probably already put 30 something hours into the game. Easy. And I was not home all day Saturday.
You ran a record of...
Go ahead.
You ran a record of like, what, 50 something matches already?
Yep. I have over 50 wins. Only like 20 losses. But I've already beat story mode, unlocked all the characters, unlocked all the arenas, unlocked all the support Pokemon, and play a lot of local versus matches with a friend.
Speaking of unlockable characters and things like that, how is the roster on that game?
It's a really good one. I really like the roster. I feel like some of the characters are hyper overpowered, such as Garchomp. I feel like Garchomp is really, really good. He's god tier in the game, to be honest. And Pikachu Libre is so fast and has such nice, easy to execute combos.
I feel like Pokemon like Blaziken and Machamp and Lucario would be go-to characters for that game.
I've played a lot of Blazikens. I've played a lot of Machamps. I've only played one Lucario.
I've seen some footage on Lucario and he seemed incredibly fast.
He's decently fast. I mean, he's pretty standard compared to the rest of the roster, though.
How is the roster balanced wise? Like, I know you mentioned some OP characters before the show.
I feel like the game is pretty decently balanced. I feel like Garchomp is way too powerful and way too fast for a good balance for his character. I mean, he's still not amazing. He's still not unbeatable. But he's got really good utilities, and if you're playing against somebody that knows how to use his moves correctly and use him correctly, you're probably going to get stomped. He's a really good character. But Weavile is probably the fastest in the game. Weavile is freaking ridiculous. He's definite god tier. As well as Suicune.
Wow. Does it, I'm sorry, I have like a bullet list of points here. Does it feel like Smash Brothers at all? Or is it more of like a Tekken style game?
I don't think it feels like either of them. I think it has its own very uniqueness about it.
So it's still more of a tournament game, or is it like a 4-player party game feel?
Tournament game. Definite tournament game. We have two
That's
phases.
Awesome.
You play in two phases. You have your field phase, which if you've ever played the games like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, Dragon Ball Z games, like your anime games that are based off of the anime TV shows, it's very similar to that. But then you can enter a battle phase. It's called the duel phase, I do believe. And in the duel phase, you're actually linear movement 2D fighter during this duel phase. You can't move side to side. It's a traditional 2D fighter style, which is my go-to thing. Like, I fight so much better in the duel phase than I do in the field phase. However, Pikachu has a lot of good utensils. From what I feel, he has a lot of good moves to use during the field phase, and he can zone out his opponents rather decently. But there's other characters the characters are either balanced, good in the field phase, good in the duel phase, or they're a lot. Your faster characters, your range characters are better in the field phase, and your up close and personal characters are better in the duel phase. So if you're a person that's like, I want to get in your face and I want to destroy you, you need to play in the duel phase. Your go-to thing needs to be you want to get in there and you want to get into the duel phase as fast as possible because you start out in the field phase. But
So that sounds like it would be my territory, because I'm an aggressive fighter in fighting games.
yes, definitely be yours. But I keep saying guys because I haven't collected my thoughts on this and I've actually been rather sick all day. I have not been feeling well at all. But you have, I personally like the duel phase, but then you have characters like Braxton. When I first saw Braxton, I thought he/she was an absolute terrible character. But I started playing online against Braxton players, and Braxton has a projectile during the duel phase that half the screen, half the distance, it goes, or not really half the distance, half the screen, it's just a fireball. And then when it gets halfway through the screen, it expands to the entire height that you can jump, and it covers the entire area. So you have to block it or else you get hit by it. And then they can spam that, and it takes a while to get through.
How vital is blocking in that game? I know in Street Fighter it's very important.
Blocking is incredibly, incredibly important. I don't think there's a single character that it benefits to not block.
Alright, it seems like a great game all around. I was watching some footage earlier before we done this recording to kind of get a feel of it. I noticed a weird leveling system that's different from any fighting game I've seen.
That is very RPG style leveling system, in my opinion.
Is it like exclusive to each Pokemon, or is it kind of a overall basis?
You level each Pokemon individually. Think of it as your ranks in Tekken, where you can get first Dan, second Dan, first Kyu, second Kyu, all that. Where you get your different belts, essentially. You can level your Pokemon up to level 100. It's like the Pokemon games. You can level them up, and when you level them up, in traditional Pokemon games, their stats increase. They just increase based on what the developers think and what they want to increase them as. But here you have 4 categories. You have attack, defense, synergy, and one that helps out with your support. I forgot what it's called. But I don't know. I forgot what it's called. But it helps your supports. So I don't use support a lot. So when I level up my Pikachu, I don't level up the support thing. I choose to level up attack. Attack's my highest, defense is my second highest, and synergy is my third highest. And I've touched support maybe 2-3 times, but I have a level 96, 97 Pikachu.
Wow, so you're almost maxed out.
Yeah, I'm almost maxed out, but it doesn't take. It's really easy to level them. Even at level 96, it only takes a couple win matches to level, and you get experience even if you lose.
Wow, okay. I really thought it was going to be more of just like really thrown together, not very coordinated battle arena type game.
No. It's incredibly coordinated. I absolutely love the game. I think it's one of the best fighting games out there right now.
Wow. Since you've had a lot of time since you've put a lot of time into the game, what kind of characters would you suggest for aggressive and defensive players?
For an aggressive player?
Yes.
Blaziken, I think would be really good for an aggressive player. Or Garchomp. I don't like Garchomp. I don't respect Garchomp players at this point in the game. Because he's so easy to win with. You don't have to really try much. But if you're aggressive and you go after power, if you're one of the slow aggressive people that would play like Goro's better, Jax, or some of those that are slower but they're up in your face and aggressive, I play as Garchomp. But if you are in your face speed style aggressive, I would play with Blaziken. Or Blaziken's pretty standard. If you like your Ryu, Ken, play as Blaziken. But if you like your speed, Pikachu Libre. Pikachu Libre is really good, fast, aggressive player. Defense-wise, I don't know. You can't really... There's nobody that's a defensive character in the game. I don't believe anybody is actual defensive character in the game. I believe we have range characters and melee characters. Up close.
So this is totally different from your standard fighting game.
Yes, I believe you have projectile characters and you have your up close and personal characters. But I feel like right now, if you're a projectile character and you like playing from a distance, Suicune is good. Chandelure is really good in the field phase. And I don't feel like Braxton's all that well. Braxton's good if you can play as Braxton, but Braxton seems to be rather hard to learn. Unless you just want to spam, which I don't respect you if you spam and will never endorse that on this channel.
Speaking of difficulty, or difficult to learn characters, if somebody was not a Pokemon fan, or they weren't necessarily all that familiar with it, is this a game they could, say, see in a GameStop or some other store and just pick up as a fighting game and want to play it?
Most definitely. Most definitely. You do not have to be familiar with Pokemon to understand and play this game. You don't have
Would it be is it a comfortable game though, if you're not familiar with that type of setup? Or that type of environment, I should say.
It takes a minute to get used to. I will say that. The style of the game takes a minute to get used to. But I believe it's a game that you can pick up and either casually play with your friends, or it's a game that you can pick up and you can take seriously, and it can be a serious game to play. So I don't think, if you're new to fighting games or new to Pokemon in general, I don't think it matters. I think this game gives you a basic understanding of fighting games with the dual phase. It has an interesting, unstandard element with the field phase, and is incredibly easy to pick up on and learn the basics of.
So do you think this can rank up there with maybe Street Fighter and the likes of it later on down the road?
I don't think it'll ever have the legacy that Street Fighter has. But I think with the support that Nintendo is giving it, and the support so far that I've seen the FGC give it, it is either going to A, burn out after it's released for a couple months, and nobody's going to really want to play it all that much. With Evo having it and CEO having it, I see a pretty good surgence in Pokken tournament players. But I don't know how well it will survive after Evo. But Nintendo is putting a lot of money in this game. The Pokemon Company and Nintendo are putting a lot of money into this game. A lot of support for tournaments and a fighting game scene. With Namco Bandai's backing it, the Pokemon Company's backing it, Nintendo's backing it. It'll be at the Pokemon World Championships in New York next fall, or next summer, one or two. This coming up fall or this coming up summer. In Boston. Boston, not New York. I feel like it will either die out or it'll stay, and it'll be here to stay for a very long time.
Well, I guess that partly answers my question of, do you feel that there would be a short line of games or a short line of sequels to come from this?
Not for a while. Not for a while. There may be updates to it. There may be DLC to it. I feel like another 4 characters would be nice for DLC, and just 4 characters and leave it there. No more than 4. And I feel
Any
like,
suggestions for which 4?
I think Abra, Alakazam, not Abracadabra, but Alakazam, I think would be really good for it. I think Jigglypuff could actually be really good. But Jigglypuff could also be a really good support Pokemon. Because you also have support Pokemon that you can choose in the game.
I feel like they would have incorporated Jigglypuff in some form, given that she's in the Smash games.
I think that's the number one mistake people are making when they're thinking Pokken. Is since Nintendo is releasing a fighting game, which, let's look at their reservoir, let's look at their past, their resume, and look at all the fighting games they released. They have not released, them personally, Nintendo has not had a console exclusive fighting game since, I do believe, traditional fighting game since Killer Instinct. So
I believe you're right.
with Smash being their big fighting game, I believe that a lot of people are confusing this game as a Smash game, and it's not. It's
So
definitely
Charizard and Pikachu don't play the same way they do in Smash games?
no. I really don't think they do. Charizard has a lot of similar looking moves. Pikachu has a lot of similar looking moves. But this and Smash are not the same thing at all. They don't play the same, they don't feel the same. The only thing that feels the same is the fact that the game actually has a jump button. Instead of being your traditional analog stick or directional pad upwards, it actually has a jump button for you to use. Which I love that. It's easier for Smash players to get into because of that. Because, they want to jump, they press a button. And if you have the classic controller Pro, the game, which looks like a GameCube controller, you can actually set it up as your Y or your X button to jump, just like in Smash. I do believe. I haven't edited mine because I don't want to edit mine for the controls. I feel like the controls they have now are really easy and simple to use. The analog stick and the D-pad work in the controls, but the arcade controller that they sell, that you can buy, that represents the arcade controller from the system, from the arcade game, only has the directional pad. So the game was technically meant to be played on a directional pad, but I don't have an issue playing it with the analog stick. It's not, I'm an analog stick person, to be honest, and it's no big deal at all.
Well, I only have one question left about the game. Of any upcoming DLC that may happen, since Nintendo jumped into the DLC bandwagon with the Smash games, what would you like to see?
I'd like to see more support Pokemon and more actual characters, obviously. I think with every character there should be another set of support Pokemon. But
Any specifics?
no, I feel like whatever Namco Bandai chose a really odd roster selection. To be honest, they didn't choose the fighting type and fighting type and fighting type and fighting type for the game, which I believe is absolutely excellent. I feel like their creativity when creating it or making it was amazing. But I also feel like there needs to be more four-legged characters, because Suicune's the only four-legged character. So I feel like an addition of Ante would be pretty nice.
Alright,
how
well,
do you guys say it?
I said that was the last question, but we know you're a Pikachu person. Rogue Blizzard is a Charizard person.
She made Suicune.
Well, I mean outside of the game,
Okay,
in the
yes.
Pokemon universe.
Yes.
You're Pikachu. Rogue Blizzard is Charizard. I'm a Squirtle or a Blastoise person. Is there any form of that in the game?
What do you mean?
Is he a support character? Is he
Blastoise.
anything? Like, is he in the game at all?
I do not believe Blastoise is in the game at all.
Well, that's who I want as DLC. Squirtle, Blastoise, War Turtle. I can't say that ever.
Turtle?
Somehow.
Turtle.
That's my bid for DLC.
If they do it, they'll do Blastoise. The only non-fully evolved character is Pikachu.
Well, yeah. But Blastoise would be kind of... I mean, it would make sense. He's got giant cannons on his back.
I believe Blastoise could be good for it.
You have to repeat that. You're kind of staticky.
I believe Blastoise would be really good for the game.
I mean, he would be a heavier, slower character, but he'd be powerful, in my opinion.
Incredibly powerful. Overall, I think the game... Go ahead.
This is going to be a spoiler for anybody listening that hasn't played the game already, including myself. What's the deal about the Dark Mewtwo?
Okay, guys. So, you start off in the Ferrum League. You go through the story mode's the Ferrum League. You're playing through the league, and it has 5 levels to it. But you play through the first league, which I do believe is the Green League. The first 3 are named after the first 3 games. The Green League, you play first. When you beat the Green League, Shadow Mewtwo comes in. And that's where your true story starts. Shadow Mewtwo comes in and he's like, bam, 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 kicks your butt, essentially. You can actually win the match, though. You get a chance to actually fight him every time, and he's not too overpowered. You have the ability to win the match. So
He's just like a repetitive boss character?
yes, and after every time you beat the league, you play him. But then, after you beat the Red League, which is the 3rd league, the league shuts down. And you go off into... You start going to the story. You start actually going through a story mode. For it. You go through 3 events that help you reform the Synergy Stone. And Mewtwo is infected with a Dark Synergy Stone. That makes him Shadow Mewtwo. So you have to get that... You have to break that bond. So you have to become synergized, is the word I'm going to use, with Mewtwo. You have to become linked with Mewtwo to help him break the curse of the Shadow Synergy Stone, essentially. And then you do that, and you beat the story mode. It's really not that long. It's kind of interesting, but kind of annoying, to be honest. But you unlock Mewtwo. You unlock regular Mewtwo after you do that. Then you have to play the Chroma League, which is their A League. I think. I may be missing one. There's green, blue, red. I may be missing one. I don't remember. But you end up beating your final league, and you go into S tier. You know how in Forza you have your your E, D, C, B, A, S. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
You know how in Forza you have your E, C, D, B, A, S tiers? Alpha. Hello?
Okay, I'm losing you a little bit.
Okay. So you know in Forza how you have your S, D, C, B, A, S, or E, D.
Yeah, the different rankings of difficulties.
Yeah, and then you have S tier that comes after A tier. It's the same in this game. S tier comes after A tier. But once you reach S tier, you unlock Shadow Mewtwo to be playable. But if you got the first edition copy of the game, it actually comes with a Shadow Mewtwo amiibo card, which it looks amazing. It is a wonderful piece of artwork.
Wow.
My one and only complaint about the game, besides the overpowered easy to use characters, is the fact that it does not come with a manual. And that's only for collector's purposes.
I don't have any more questions about the game. Do you have any more you wish to say about it?
I think overall it's an amazing game. I think it is absolutely wonderful in its creation. I think the design, the innovation of the game is amazing, and I don't think there's anything. I hope the game has a really long lifespan, because I see it being a title that can either make it or break it. And the community out there, the Pokken community, get it together, make sure your game stays alive. And if you want to take it seriously, so that other people don't take us as jokes. Be like the Smash community. Get out there. Even if people are taking you as jokes right now, make the community, and they'll accept you eventually.
If you were gonna rank it on a 5-star ranking system, what does it get?
4 3/4.
Alright. So definitely a recommended game.
Definitely, I would recommend it to anybody and everybody.
Alright. Well, I really just wanted to cover that interview tonight. Do you have another topic that interests you or that you heard about in the world you want to bring up for the people?
Rest in peace to the two guys from Nintendo that we lost previous week.
Yes.
You guys rest in peace.
Definitely.
Wherever you may rest.
Definitely.
I know you don't know much about this, but Infiltration won final round night. Just to go over results for guys at home. Infiltration won final round 19. FR19. Tokido came in second, and I do believe Mago came in third. I may be wrong on that. Haitani maybe? Haitani or Mago, I do believe, came in third, but I do know Infiltration and Tokido came in first and second. The Japanese players persevered again, even though I think Infiltration is Korean. But the Asian players persevered again in Street Fighter. Sonic Fox, a Mortal Kombat and Injustice player, made it to top 8 at final round in Street Fighter 5. And came back from losers bracket in MKX and won.
Alright. There's your updates from our resident tournament watcher.
And Liquid Hunger Box,
I guess is the title now.
And Liquid Hungry Box came in first at Battle of the Five Gods for Smash, and I do believe Mango came in second. Maybe Armada. Maybe Mango. Probably Mango. I think it was Mango. And then Armada came in third, most likely. Plop had
slightly confused tournament watcher.
Yes, I didn't actually get to tune into the finals of Battle of the Five Gods. I was out with my girlfriend that day, and I was taking a nap. I woke up and was rather upset. I hate Hungrybox. Everybody go and like spam his Twitter with "I hate you." Go C9 Mango. Go Leffen. PSN Leffen is not a fuckboy, Mango. Get your shit together. Little California kid.
Well,
That's
alright, guys.
that's
Healy and Chris, you got anything you want to throw out there?
that's about it. I do believe this is a wrap.
Hit the donate button, guys.
Donate below. Any amount of money is a good amount of money. I don't care if you donate a penny. Donation is donation, and donation is great. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, please
Yes.
feel free to go to twitch.tv/cerebral777 where this is being broadcast at, and feel free to hit the donate button down there.
And give us any feedback you feel like we need.
If
We're
you
always
feel like-
open to constructive criticism and things of the sort.
If you feel like this is shit, then tell us this is shit. I mean, I'll reply to you. I'll let you know what I think about you, but just be cautious. Alright.
Yeah.
Believe that.
Lone Alpha out, guys.
Hilly and Chris out. See you guys.